Good morning. Today we are continuing in our Unit 10 with our angles. We started angles yesterday, so we're continuing that today. Today we are doing CO61. I can identify vertical and corresponding angles. So vertical and corresponding angles. We're going to see what that means. So let's look at some of our key terms that we have. An adjacent angle are two angles that share a common side and a vertex, and they do not overlap. So they share a common side and the vertex. So that vertex is the point. So those would be adjacent angles because they're right next to each other. And they share the common angle point, that vertex. Vertical angles are a pair of opposite angles formed when two lines meet at a point. So if we have a point and we have two lines that are meeting at that point, the opposite angles are opposite of each other. Okay? So opposite angles come when you have two lines that intersect, and they're going to be opposite of each other. Congruent angle are angles that have the same measurement. So 36 degrees and 36 degrees. They would be congruent angles. 90 degrees and 90 degrees. They're congruent angles. They have to have the same angle measurement. Intersecting lines are two lines that meet at a point. Parallel lines are two lines in the same plane that will never intersect. So they can be going that, they can be going like that. But if we continue those lines going on and on and on, they're never going to cross each other. So would those two lines be parallel? Why not?
One's slanted and then the one's not.
So if I were to continue my lines, you can see that at some point they're going to intersect. So they are not parallel. Parallel lines will never intersect. Corresponding angles are angles that occupy corresponding positions when a line intersects two other lines. So if we have our two lines and a line intersects them, corresponding angles would be like this angle and this angle. Okay, so they're corresponding. They're on the right side of that intersecting line. They're on the top of the lines. So they're corresponding because they're in the same positions. Okay? Any questions on any of those terms that we just used? Okay, so it's going to be important that you refer back to these definitions. Make sure you understand your terms. Oh, we've got some more. Oh, goodness. We did parallel. Perpendicular lines. Two lines that intersect to form right angles. So perpendicular lines, I didn't draw it very well, but you will have a right angle at each of those spots. So it'll be 90 degrees for each of them. Okay, so perpendicular lines mean they make a T. Okay, they go straight through. It's like a plus sign. All right. What is so funny that people keep giggling? I'm looking out and I'm seeing lots of giggles throughout this lesson. What's funny, Anthony?
No, it's just a question.
Okay.
So it's just like, so that just basically like congruent then? Like congruent 90 degrees?
Yes, they would all be 90 degrees. So the angles would be all congruent because they're all 90 degree angles. Okay, but congruent angles don't have to be 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So when you have perpendicular lines, yes, they are all 90 degrees. Corresponding angles that occupy, oh, I already did corresponding. I just forgot perpendicular. I skipped over it. Okay. So identifying adjacent angles. Remember, adjacent means they share a common side and the vertex, but they don't overlap. So let's look at our example here. What would be adjacent angles that are also supplementary? So what does it mean to be supplementary? Yeah, that they make 180 degrees, so you'll see a straight line. So what are some of my adjacent angles? Brielle, tell me one set. Angle 1 and angle 4. So we can see 1 and 4. They are along that straight line here, that 180 degrees. They share a common line. They share the vertex. What's another set of adjacent supplementary angles? Peyton?
2 and 3.
Angle 2 and angle 3. Right here. You can see the line that they share and the vertex they share, and it's 180 degrees. What's another set of adjacent supplementary angles, Ryan?
4 and 3.
Angle 4 and angle 3. As we see again, there's that straight line. Here's the line they have in common. They share their vertex. And we have one more set. Zoe? Angle 1 and angle 2. So angle 1 and angle 2, there's the line they share, straight line, supplementary. Okay, so you see how that works with those adjacent angles? All right, so now, when two lines meet at a point, the angles that are opposite each other are called vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent angles, meaning they have the same measure. So up here we have our two lines meeting at the point, line A and line B. They meet at our point in the middle there. Vertical angles are congruent angles, so they have the same measurement. So let's say that if the measure of angle 4 is 102 degrees, can you find the measure of angle 2? What would it be? If they are congruent angles, what does it mean to be congruent, Will? Yeah, they're congruent angles, they have the same measurement. So angle 2 would equal 102 degrees because they're congruent. They're across from each other. They're opposite. So they're going to be that same measurement. That's one of the easiest ones. Vertical angles are congruent. Easy, same measurement. Yes?
Is there like a thing that we can find the area of angles?
No, because an angle isn't filled in. So that would be a triangle. If you wanted to fill it in to find the area, that's a triangle. And it all depends on where you draw the line to fill it in. We are going to work with triangles, just not yet. So you're jumping ahead. All right, so if these are 100, if angle 2 and angle 4 are 102 degrees, can you find the measure of angle 1? Will W? Are they opposite? Yeah, angle 1 isn't opposite of angle 2 and angle 4, so it's not congruent. What do we know about straight lines? Straight lines are supplementary. So if part of our angle is 102 degrees, can you find the missing angle? Zoe? 180 minus 102, so what is that? Oh, Will. 78 degrees, so angle 1 equals 78 degrees, because like Zoe said, we did that straight angle line of 180 minus angle 2, which was 102, and we got 78. So we're using the information that we used yesterday to help us answer some of our questions. How do we feel about that? Can anybody quickly tell me what the measure of angle 3 is? Bria? How did you know it so quick? Because it's congruent with angle 1. They are opposite of each other. Congruent angles are equal. So if they're opposite, they're congruent, and they're the same angle measure. They're next to each other on that straight angle line. You just subtracted away from 180 to find what's missing. You feel good about that? All right. Lines in a plane. Intersecting lines, parallel lines, and perpendicular lines. We had those terms up in the top in our definitions. So let's see what we're going to do. Is the vertical angles. So intersecting lines. So let's say we have lines that look like that. You don't ever assume that they are perpendicular unless you see what? What's going to tell you that it's perpendicular and it's a right angle?
Both sides are like crossed.
Well, these ones are crossing, but they're not perpendicular. What do I need to see to know that they are perpendicular so it's a 90-degree right angle? So the box, that little box right there tells you that it is a right angle. So if you see lines like this that look like they might be right angles, but you don't see the box, they are not right angles. You cannot assume that it's a right angle unless you see the box. Okay, that box tells us it's 90 degrees, it's a right angle. If you don't see that box, it's not. All right, so we have two intersecting lines here. Let's see. Well, they just want you to know that they're intersecting lines. Easy enough. So let's do, remember our parallel lines will never intersect. They're never going to cross. And the perpendicular lines are the ones that have our right angle. So we just need to know that. Remember, we'll do the corresponding angles in a moment. So we're going to use these parallel lines with my line intersecting both of them. So if this is angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4, which angles are corresponding? Which ones are corresponding angles? Bria? Yeah, remember our corresponding angles take up that same place. So they're corresponding because they have corresponding positions. So what's my other set of corresponding angles? Anthony. 2 and 3, are they in the same positions? 2 is on the right side of the intersecting line. 3 is on the left side. So they're not in the same position. Which angle is in the same position as 3? Yeah, it's on the left side of the line. That intersecting line is on the left, 3 is on the left. it's on top of the line, 3 is on top of the line. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
So let's do another one.
I'm German for a second. Prejudice.
Now I'm gonna confuse you guys. Let's see if you can. Tell me some corresponding angles. Peyton?
6 and
6 is above the line, 2 is below the line. They are not corresponding. What would be corresponding with 6? 5 is on the other side, they're supplementary. What is corresponding with 6?
6.
So 6 is above the line, 3 and 4 are above the line. 6 is to the right of that intersecting line, 4 is to the right of the intersecting line. So our corresponding angles are angle 4 and angle 6. What is another set of corresponding angles? Josie, say that louder.
3 and
3 is above and to the left. 5 is above and to the left. They are corresponding angles. Who can tell me another set of corresponding angles? Nolan. 2 is below the line and to the right. 8 is below the line and to the right. They are corresponding. Here's another set of corresponding angles. Regan. 1 is below the line and to the left. 7 is below the line and to the left. Anthony?
6 and 8.
Are they corresponding? 6 is above, 8 is below.
Oh, that's 8. There's no more.
6 and 8, 8 and 6. It's the same pair. So they are supplementary. They are next to each other. They're adjacent because they share a line. Here's the tip, guys. Adjacent angles will never be corresponding angles. Adjacent angles share a line. They cannot be corresponding because corresponding angles, look, Anthony, corresponding angles share the same positioning, above and to the right, above and to the right. We can't do 6 and 8 because 6 is above and 8 is below. They're not in the same placement. So there are only 4 combinations of corresponding angles in this example. So we found them all. Okay. Do you understand the difference between corresponding and adjacent?
So 1 and 7 is red, so why can't?
No, this is a good question. Stop giggles. This is a good question. 7 is down here. So 1 is below the line and to the left. 7 is below the line and to the left.
So it's red.
We have it right here. 1 and 7 are corresponding angles. So we already had it listed. Okay? You feeling okay about it? All right, we'll see how the workbook page goes. Okay, so today's assignment is page 129. Let me see if we're going to do 130. So page 129, you need to answer them given that angles 1, 2, 3, and 4 over to the side, remembering what the vertical angle is, what an adjacent angle is. If you need to look at the definitions on your binder page, look at the definitions, what we were talking about at the top of the page. When it asks you to give the measurement, friends, stop talking. When it's asking 3 and 4 is asking you to find a measurement, you need to decide how those angles are related to each other. Are they corresponding? Are they congruent? Are they on a supplementary line? Ryan?
I'm sorry, you said page 129, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, page 129.
What's that?
And I'm looking at page 130.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. We're gonna do definitely do 1 through 11 and see if you can challenge yourself to find the angle measurements on the bottom, that last section on page 130. Let's do the evens, 12, 14, and 16. Okay, so 1 through 11, and then 12, 14, 16. Okay. And for my friends at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.